Okay, so the upcoming week is going to be an historic week for cryptos, particularly XRP. So let's talk about it.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done.
Okay, so as I'm recording this, it is Sunday, July 13th, and this upcoming week is going to be a very important week. It's going to be an historic week for the entire crypto space, but particularly for XRP and a few other key coins. Now, I've got a lot of things that I want to say in this video, but I want to respect your time, so I'm going to keep this as tight as possible, okay? The first important development that you need to know about, because this is a really big deal for XRP, is so on July 14th, which is tomorrow, the Federal Reserve Financial Services will implement the ISO 2022 message format for the Fedwire Fund Service. This change will replace the current Fedwire Application Interface Manual format. The new ISO 2022 format is a global standard for financial messaging, aiming to improve data richness, accuracy, and interoperability of wire transfers. Okay, so guess what? That's XRP, my friends. Okay, so what's even bigger is that not only is that going to affect the Fed wiring system, but it's also going to be adopted by SWIFT. So this marks a very definite move away from the traditional financial system toward the use of blockchain, aka XRP. Now, it'll also benefit a few other coins, but XRP is a primary beneficiary of this, especially since XRP is a government-compliant operation. They've already gone through the ringer. They are compliant with all government rules. So if you have XRP, again, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but man, I wouldn't sell this guy for a little while. And if you don't own XRP yet, you might want to give this guy a real serious look. XRP is going to make a lot of people a lot of money. I mean, if you have enough XRP, it's not going to be too terribly long before your lives are going to be completely changed. So some other really big developments in the crypto world. The U.S. Treasury has removed crypto broker reporting rules, including Form 1099-DA. Those rules were designed to require broker-dealers, including DeFi platforms, to report users' digital asset transactions to the IRS for tax compliance. Okay, so to be clear here, okay, so the 1099-DA form is still going to be required for centralized exchanges, but decentralized exchanges, like Uniswap, they're not going to be required anymore to report to the IRS. So this is really good news for people who want to protect their privacy, protect their anonymity while doing business, with their cryptos. Okay, and next, the federal banking agency's policies and guidance that affect the digital asset sector should be rescinded or substantially revised. Okay, so let's get a closer look. Specific policies and guidance issued by the federal banking agencies that affect the global asset sector have made it exceedingly difficult for banks to engage in digital asset-related activities, despite the clear legal authority of banks to do so. And these are a list of the changes that are going to be happening. Okay, so the path is being paved now for banks to become more involved in cryptos. Namely, they're going to be allowed to custody cryptos and do other business, with cryptos. That is a massive change. Okay, so we do have a pretty big clue that XRP is now becoming much more popular among the retail public and institutional traders. Open interest in XRP options nears $100 million. XRP options open interest has surged nearly $98 million, the highest level since August of 2023. Traders are piling in as volatility spikes, with yields on short-term contracts drawing in speculators and yield hunters. I mean, look at that increase in XRP options open interest. Brad on CNBC and U.S. Banking Committee sends shockwaves. CNBC did a feature about how a whale committed $30 million in XRP trades in just 1 minute. Here's another tweet. Banks and regulated financial institutions are here. After this partnership announced by Ripple and BNY, expect more to follow from the likes of Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and HSBC. Yes, that's right. BNY just entered into an agreement with Ripple. Listen up, guys. XRP is going to be adopted by the entire traditional financial system because they're going to need it if they want to transition from the traditional way of doing wire transfers to the new way using blockchain, and they're going to need XRP for that. XRP is the backbone of the new financial system. Okay, so in a moment here, I'm going to get into the possibility that there will not be any taxes on XRP. But before I do, I kind of want to paint a picture here for you, okay? We in the crypto space, we love crypto because of what it can do to help us secure our privacy and our personal sovereignty. Now, this may sound oversimplified and might sound a little naive, but it's not. The fact that Trump won in this last election was a very, very big deal for anybody involved in the crypto space and anybody who's a freedom-loving person. Let's remember what the last candidate wanted to do. Harris wanted a 28% corporate tax, 44.6% capital gains tax, 25% tax on unrealized fucking gains. If you're at all involved in cryptos, you should be thanking God that this guy won. I mean, make no mistake. The previous administration declared an all-out war on cryptocurrencies and crypto consumers. For those of us involved in the crypto space, to any degree, we were up against an army of elites determined to take down the entire crypto space. They were hell-bent on control. They want to control our lives. And it wasn't just the local elites, okay? This was a global effort. We had the elites out of Davos who were determined to control the crypto space. Now, the WEF knew that they couldn't stop crypto, so they wanted to control it with their own regulations. And when the WEF talked, the elitists, the government leaders around the world listened. And the poster boy of keeping us under the thumb of the government was this clown, Gary Gensler. And of course, there's a worldwide push to introduce CBDCs. And they admit it. They don't hide this fact. In their speeches, they actually use the words. European Central Bank head reveals CBDCs could be used for control amid banking crisis. CBDCs are about control. They're not about innovation. And I can go on and on and on. Every major global institution had its own ways of not only controlling cryptocurrencies, but turning them around and using them to control us. I mean, they love this technology, but they pervert it. And they have their own solutions. They have their own coins that they want to use. They have the Unicoin and the World Coin and, all sorts of special coins. For these people, cryptocurrencies is a tool of control. It's a tool of depriving us of our privacy. But listen, the war is not over. These people have not, and they will not stop. Politicians will continue to try to erode our freedoms. They will do everything they can to stymie our progress. But we are making progress. I mean, the Trump administration is starting to push for changes that will make the crypto industry more legitimate, more private, and they will protect us. So what are some of the things that are coming up that's going to reset the rules of the road? Not reset, actually set the rules of the road. Well, we have the Genius Act. This is primarily focusing on regulations regarding stablecoins. We have the Clarity Act, the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, and that was introduced in the House to define regulatory boundaries between the SEC and the CFTC. And it will mandate distinctions in oversight, securities versus commodities, segregated customer funds, registration for exchanges, brokers, and just regular disclosures. And look at this, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. This is a House bill that would actually prohibit the creation or distribution of a consumer-facing central bank digital currency by the Federal Reserve. Okay, so what about my thumbnail? How about how XRP is going to be tax-free? There won't be any taxes. Okay, so this is not an official proposal yet. It has not been introduced, as a potential law. But we do know that Eric Trump in January 2025 suggested a complete exemption from federal capital gains tax on certain U.S.-based cryptos, including XRP. This idea would envision 0% capital gains on U.S.-based cryptos, while non-U.S. cryptos could face as much as a 30% tax. Okay, so yeah, it hasn't been proposed yet, but my guess is that Trump is picking his battles here. And I think that once we get through this first wave of policy changes, that this will be proposed. And if that does happen, if sometime soon XRP and any U.S.-based crypto is tax-free, imagine all of the financial advisors out there who are going to be, advising their clients to move from, U.S. stocks, U.S. Treasury bonds into this tax-free asset. It is mind-blowing just I mean, it's hard for me to find the words to express how massive a move. And we're talking. I don't want to give price predictions, but just I mean, it'll just be a mind-blowing event. So XRP is not tax-free yet, but it could happen. Okay, so listen, we crypto consumers, we are at the heart freedom-loving individuals. We like our personal sovereignty. And that is the most attractive part about cryptos for us. But we have very powerful people and institutions, both domestic, and global, who are aligned against us. And they're still aligned against us. So this is going to be an ongoing battle. But the momentum is starting to change in our favor. So for those of you out there who may not be involved in the crypto space at all, you might want to rethink this a little bit. You might want to start paying a little attention, start getting a little educated, start subscribing to channels like mine. Yeah, please like and subscribe, okay, guys, and ring that notification bell. Okay, I want to close this out here by showing you a recap of that very important speech that Trump made at the Bitcoin conference last fall. Now, it was a 90-minute speech, and I rewatched it for you guys, and I plucked out just a few key clips to remind you of the promises that he made. So I boiled down that 90-minute speech down to about 4 minutes. But that should be a reminder to you of what Trump is trying to do for us. So let's watch a few of those clips.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done. For 3.5 years, the current administration has waged a war on crypto and Bitcoin like nobody's ever seen before. For those who work in this industry, they target your banks, they choke off your financial services. Have people seen that? Yes? They block ordinary Americans from transferring money to your exchanges. They slander you as criminals. I will cut unnecessary and burdensome regulations, fight every day to make America the best place on earth to build a business, including a crypto business. It's going to be the best place. When we see the attacks on crypto, it's a part of a much larger pattern that's being carried out by the same left-wing fascists who weaponize government against any threat to their power. It should be no surprise that these same totalitarians are hell-bent on crushing crypto and obliterating, and that's what they want to do, and that's what they are stated. You have the SEC, you know what they're doing, obliterating Bitcoin. The reason could not be more clear, because Bitcoin stands for freedom, sovereignty, and independence from government, coercion, and control. I pledge to the Bitcoin community that the day I take the oath of office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's anti-crypto crusade will be over. It will end. It'll be done. It'll be done. The moment I'm sworn in, the persecution stops and the weaponization ends against your industry. And as long as I'm in the Oval Office, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, do you remember? Elizabeth Warren and her goons, and she's very nasty to you. She hates your people. She hates everything about you. Will keep their hands off Bitcoin. They're going to keep their hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. I didn't know he was that unpopular. Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Whoa. And we'll appoint a new SEC chairman who believes America should build the future, not block the future, which is what they're doing. A lot of things change. As president, I will immediately shut down Operation Choke Point 2.0. They want to choke you. They want to choke you out of business. We're not going to let that happen. And no longer will your government sit by and watch as Bitcoin jobs and businesses flee to other countries because America's laws are too unclear and too tough and too angry and too stiff. We will keep each and every Bitcoin job in the United States of America. That's what we're going to be doing. Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and Crypto Presidential Advisory Council Would anybody like to be on that particular council? Their task will be to design transparent regulatory guidance for the benefit of the entire industry. We will have regulations, but from now on, the rules will be written by people who love your industry, not hate your industry, people that want to make it clear and simple, straightforward, and fair. There will never be a CBDC while I'm President of the United States. And I will always defend the right to self-custody. You're going to have a great industry, and we're going to be fuel for your industry, not demolish your industry. America will once again be a nation that protects property rights, privacy, freedom of transaction, freedom of association, and freedom of speech.
Okay, so exciting times. This week, this upcoming week is going to be a very important week because we have the big Senate and congressional hearing going on about the entire crypto space. So watch for possible fireworks in the crypto space, particularly in XRP. Please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, comment. Ed Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.